Astronauts to the moon.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to reality.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jeranism, back with another video for you today. The Impossible Space Station. Yeah, I know, many people wanted to keep this dream of space alive and even fight on the side of the deceivers, but it will only prolong the inevitable, which is the realization that we were all taught a bunch of lies, and we can sit around and cry, or we can get back to reality and make the Earth a better place to live. So stop pretending that we can colonize a red light in the sky, or put a million-pound tin can in orbit, or that we can live on a sphere in the emptiness of space. So we're going to watch some ISS footage here in a bit. That should help you see the truth if you are still on the fence, but as I showed in my last video, there is no 24-hour camera feed on the ISS. And for those who are still dropping links and edited videos or links to Ustream saying, here's your 24/7 video, hope you're happy. Well, my question is, where were you Sunday morning when I had the $1,000 bet on the table? And we had no takers. So none at all. I see a lot of people who say, I work for someone, or this is a psyop. It's like a psyop. A psyop is to induce or reinforce behavior that is favorable to the government, or to the U.S. government in this case. Do you really think it fits our government's plans to have people thinking the Earth is flat? Which means our tax money has been wasted. Our education system was a scam. Universities, a scam. The Cold War was a scam. Nukes, a scam. Moon landing, a scam. Satellites, a scam. Orbits, a scam. Astrophysics, a scam. Why would the government want anything other than you, yes boys? Let's pretend it is a psyop. Let's just pretend. Or that the government wants to make truthers look dumb. You don't find it rather startling and strange that something we were taught as children as being scientific fact has so little backing that people can be swayed in their opinion of it? I mean, we were all taught flat Earth was stupid. It was a primitive belief by desert wanderers. So for someone to even consider it for a second, there has to be two things. One, a whole lot wrong with the current accepted belief, and some damn good points with the idea we were taught was stupid. I mean, do you think people like taking verbal abuse, being called stupid? Do you think I like to see videos made about me saying I'm retarded? Do you think the people who comment, who have started to notice the deception, want the Earth to be flat? They want the truth, just like me. I mean, I'm not a Christian. I know Christians have a little bit more invested in this, but it doesn't bother me either way, if it's flat or it isn't. Now, at this point, I know it can't be a ball. And that's simply because it's been 14 months and there's been no new proof, just angry drones. Point is, there are major problems with the globe model, but it was indoctrinated into our very foundation, not with proof, not with facts, not with tests, not with science, but with givens and basics and foundations that we all thought were solid, and they aren't. So these were forced truths. They were tricks played on our minds. So how do you think they did it? Well, let's watch George W. explain exactly how an indoctrinated world is created.
And our good hearts and good nature. Yeah, Ken.
Mr. President, earlier this year you told us you had ordered your administration to cease and desist on payments to journalists to promote your agenda. You cited the need for ethical concerns and the need for a bright line between the press and the government. Your administration continues to make the use of video news releases, which are prepackaged news stories sent to television stations, fully aware that some or many of these stations will air them without any disclaimer that they are produced by the government. Comptroller General of the United States this week said that raises ethical questions. Does it raise ethical questions about the use of government money to produce stories about the government that wind up being aired with no disclosure that they were produced by the government?
There is a Justice Department opinion that says these pieces are within the law so long as they're based upon facts, not advocacy. And I expect our agencies to adhere to that ruling, to that Justice Department opinion. This has been a long-standing practice of the federal government. to use these types of videos. Agricultural Department, as I understand, has been using these videos for a long period of time. The Defense Department, other departments have been doing so. It's important that they be based upon the guidelines set out by the Justice Department. Now, I think it'd be helpful if local stations then disclose to their viewers if that's, that this was based upon a factual report and they chose to use it. But evidently in some cases that's not the case. So anyway.
The administration could guarantee that's happening by including that language in the prepackaged report.
Yeah, look, oh, you mean a disclosure? I'm George W. Bush and I...
Well, some way to make sure it couldn't air without the disclosure that you believe is so vital.
Ken, there's a procedure that we're going to follow, and the local stations ought to, if there's a deep concern about that, ought to tell their viewers what they're watching. Yes, sir.
So it should be obvious how we were fooled, but since many people don't know where I'm coming from, I'm going to explain it again, and if you've heard this story, you can skip ahead 10 minutes. Otherwise, I just wanted to remind you how I got here, since some people think you must work for the CIA in order to think the Earth is flat. While I ramble, the video will alternate in the background between ISS live feed video, and that will say ISS live in the upper left, and videos that NASA comes out with 2 or 3 days after the fact, and those will say ISS video in the upper left. So all the videos that we see in classrooms and on TV and commercials, on the news, it's all propaganda. So wake up. I'm sorry if you can't see the deception. Doesn't mean it's not there. If you think the only way a person can think the Earth is flat is if they're being paid, you're dead wrong. The evidence I have seen that says the globe is true is shoddy. It's inconclusive, it's hearsay, conjecture, it's math. Its brightest spot is it was taught to me by teachers that I respected. But after that, it's all numbers and none of it meets my reality. The evidence for the flat Earth, on the other hand, meets my senses. It feels right. I don't feel spinning. I don't feel like I'm flying. I don't think you can live and walk on all sides of a sphere. I don't see any curvature. I don't think people can fly to the moon. I don't think the moon is always falling. I don't think orbits are possible. Everything the globe does, the flat Earth can do better and cheaper. The Himawari is a satellite that the Japanese have up, and it's simply cloud cover that they put or superimpose on a ball. It's high-altitude planes like easy. The satellite cost was $280 million plus $100 million to launch. So to me, it looks like an opportunity for some crafty people to steal about $300 million. So as I said, I think it's flat. I'm not being paid, and I work for no one, so get over it. I went to school just like all you. I went to a rather prestigious Jesuit-run high school. I was raised Catholic and was confused in high school because, for some reason, they pushed science real hard. It made no sense to me. I went to a few months of college, did a couple classes, but then I got a girl pregnant, and by the age of 20, I was a single father raising a kid. So that meant I had to go to work. And I worked full-time for 15 years, and the last 10 of those I was working 70 to 80 hours a week. I was asleep, but I believed what you do. Who would question it? Why would you question it? Then CVS took over for the company I was working for, and everything changed. They didn't care about customers, they didn't care about employees, they wanted monkeys. They had me start training a new store manager, and I found out he was starting at almost half the pay of what I made. At the time, I thought nothing of it. So when I got married, I took a 2-week vacation, and when I came back to a verbal warning for a surprise overnight visit they did while I was on my honeymoon. Whatever, shit happens. 14 years, not one morning, and then I get one on vacation. Oh well, I read the report, though, and I saw that it was filled with lies and incorrect data, and I'm not cool with that. So I called the loss prevention lady. They gave it to me, and she said she was tired that night. So I told her, okay, well, you need to retract the email that you sent to the senior vice president, who's my DM's boss, and she told me no. So I said, but your report is false. So I demand a meeting with you and my DM. So I told my DM that I wanted to have that meeting, and I wanted to see the email that she sent to the senior vice president. And he said, okay, and he sent it to me, but I could tell it was cut and pasted. It wasn't the actual email. So I said, no, I want to see the actual email. My DM said, and I'll never forget, you don't want to see it. It's a smear campaign. So I was pissed, and when we had our meeting, I was given another warning, a written warning this time. So this written warning was in early December of 2012, and it was for having excess product in my storeroom, but I was the #1 seasonal store in the district, and it was Christmas time. We had still 3 weeks left to sell it, so I said, well, I'm not going to accept that write-up until after Christmas when the inventory had sold. Well, then I was given a final warning for insubordination, and I looked at my DM who just had his head down, and I kind of saw the writing on the wall. I knew exactly what was going on. I had been working there long enough to know when they were getting rid of somebody, and then it made sense. I had been training my replacement. So I put in my 2 weeks notice, left with my 14-year job history as rehirable, and that left me angry and pissed off basically at the world and the corporate world. So my wife and I talked and said, let's try and work from home. And we tried, and ultimately, well, we lost our home, so it wasn't the best idea. But we did try, and between 2012 and 2014, as we built our bookstore, we got to evaluate our beliefs and our lives and everything that we believed in and trusted, and we fought through religion. It was one of the hardest things we ever had to do, and we saw it finally for the BS that it is, and I became an atheist. I started studying and reading up on science so I could debate Christians and religions to show them the truth, and in no time at all, we saw what science was. It's just another religion. If you can't use your brain anymore, I'm sorry, I could. Evolution is a travesty. People who believe in science simply believe in science. If they looked into it and tried to learn how we date the Earth, or how we carbon date, how do we dig up dino bones, and how we separate DNA, they'll see it's basically a scam. So we wiped the slate clean. My wife and I said, from here on out, we're going to prove everything to ourselves. We're not trusting men. Men lie. And I went right to the moon landings. It was important to me because it had always bugged me. And so as I was researching that, I realized the importance of the moon. At the same time, my wife asked me, do you think that the Earth could be flat? And I wigged out. I said, what the hell are you talking about? No, shut up. Don't be stupid. How would the planes go around the Earth? She's been to Hungary before, and she went east, and I went to the Philippines, and I went west. So I said, how is that possible? And I was pretty upset. I said, we're not starting all over. There are some things that are just fundamentally true. The Earth being a ball is one of them. They've known this for thousands of years. This was the end of 2014, and as I searched the moon landing stuff, I came across Eric Dubé's site, and for the first time ever, I saw the azimuthal equidistant map, and a light bulb went pop. Oh shit, planes can go around a flat Earth. So from then, through January, my wife and I looked deep into the idea of the Earth possibly being flat, and it all fell into place. I came to be a flat earther. It all made sense. Why science is a religion, and how it caused control. How school was indoctrination. How the most gigantic of all conspiracies explained all conspiracies. And my wife said, you have to make a video. And I said, I can't. People would just laugh. People aren't ready for it. So for a month or so, I started the Jeranism Tumblr and was just posting anti-NASA stuff and kind of minding my own business, checking YouTube occasionally to see if anybody else was making videos. Sure enough, come February, Mark Sargent made his clues video, and I saw the way he presented it was a way I felt I could be comfortable presenting it. It made sense. All of it. I said, I can do this, and so we started making videos. So look, if you believe the globe model, you must accept that no matter what numbers are given to you, you'll believe them. Whether they say you spin 1,000 miles per hour or 1 billion miles per hour, you believe it. Flying 66,000 miles per hour through space or 64 million miles per hour through space, doesn't matter, you'll believe it. That should tell you it's just math. It's not reality. You'll believe whatever numbers they put in front of you because they say it's proof. Math proves orbital mechanics, but you can't test it in reality. The globe in every classroom, every commercial, every logo, every emblem, it all made sense to me. I finally understood something that I think, and I could be wrong here, but something I think every one of us has felt at some point in our lives. Something about this world, something about our lives doesn't seem right. We certainly are not cosmic accidents and products of random selection and survival of the fittest, made up of stardust from billions of years ago in an endless outer space. And it doesn't feel like we're here to use our free will to do only as the great God Jehovah has dictated or receive a punishment of eternity for some bad choices over 80 years. But a flat Earth, an Earth that matches my senses. A moon and a sun that I can't explain, but that baffle me and humble me, that the world has a plan, that it has operation, it has design, it has purpose, structure, and reason. Being good to each other and helping each other, it all started to make sense. I wanted to get out and observe and test. I no longer cared about outer space because I'm not going there. And the more I looked into it, neither is anyone else. Now, someone says they do go to outer space, but they fail at every opportunity to prove it. So, it was settled. I was a flat earther. I can see clearly now the globe is gone. No orbital mechanics or gravity. So we move on to the ISS live feed. For a fun time, type ISS live in Google and click the first link and enjoy the view. First thing you'll notice is you'd never have all those wires up at the top there. The different fittings and tubes, you wouldn't put those on the outside of the space station. Or the outside of any craft in a harsh and deadly environment such as space. You see we've got a drum set on top with a symbol, it looks like. So while we wait for the sunset here, I'll announce a contest. Just like we had one for NASA a while back, this one's going to be for the ISS. So just like I named this video the Impossible Space Station, you got 3 letters, ISS, we need a new name. So winner will get a choice of a gift card, we'll say $20 from Starbucks or maybe Target or something like that. You can only put one name in a comment. So you can make as many comments as you want and submit as many names as you want, but don't put more than one in a comment, and the one that gets the most thumbs up by a week from today will be the winner. So you can start that. And again, if you put 2 or more comments, then you automatically are a loser. And so you'll notice right underneath that drink umbrella, or whatever's up there, there's like a square, kind of a see-through square, so keep an eye on that. After that, we're going to be looking in this area over here where I'm pointing to show you some, I don't know if it's lightning or what they want you to believe it is. It certainly isn't anything exciting, but we'll be pointing that out. But keep your eye on basically the lighting issue here as it flashes in and out. And remind yourself you don't live here or up here or anywhere on this ball at all. But yeah, test this, go to the west side of your house outside and watch the sunset and watch the lighting on the side of your house and see if it flashes at sunset. I would be very surprised if it did. But you'll notice that little square before that was see-through, we were able to see through it down to the earth, is now got something inside of it. I'm talking about the little drum unit up there, or whatever that is. We also got a tripod down here. All kinds of fun stuff. You would never, again, put all this stuff on the outside. Makes no sense. Got some shadow issues going on here as we continue to wait for the sun to set. And you see how looks like somebody's playing with a dimmer switch as it blinks in and out, in and out. It's all pretty gross.
Station on to robotic workstation and PCS are powered up via UOP1.
Fellow Liars, Team 2, Workstation, Deception, 24/7, 365, number 1. Is that what he said?
Copy, Tim, and we're going to route video here soon. We'll let you know when that should be coming up so you can confirm it. It's looking good.
And copy Tin Can. We confirm.
Okay, thanks.
We're all full of shit indeed. NASA's almost over. How gross is this? It really is just disgusting. It looks like my grandparents' bedroom. Scary. Very scary. I would never go in there. So we continue to get this terrible looking lighting effect. Of course, we see no city lights, no lightning. We just see this fluctuating, ridiculous, blinking dimmer switch. But nothing underneath. Where's all the lights of the cities below that we saw earlier? Where's the lightning and the sprites and all the detail? We see absolutely nothing. And of course, people, oh, we got a little something there. People will always say, well, the cameras aren't set up to do that. Like they can't just set up a specific camera to take the pictures live at night. What is going on here now? We got some purple mood lighting, I guess. yeah, you know what time it is. It's International Love Time. Give me a call if you faking space out there somewhere tonight. Pretending and acting, playing games, being a clown. Give us a call right here on K Fool You Radio. So you'll see on the screen now, starting to materialize there where the Earth was, are some noticeable dots of brightness. Or at first when I saw them, I thought they were lightning. But if you take a look, they don't move. So what is the excuse going to be now? Either it's lightning and the Earth doesn't move, or what else could they be? They certainly are on the Earth, or where the Earth was. They're stationary. They look dynamic. I'll grab a little ink pen here if I can and circle them out for you in case you can't see them. There's one there, one up here, and one in the lower right there too. What is with the purple? I mean, does this look like it's going 17,500 miles per hour? Does it look like it would be an aerodynamic spaceship? Or does it look like somebody threw a keg on top of a dumpster pile and added some bed sheets and a drum set and a cymbal? That's what it looks like to me. Yeah, purple's not really doing it for me. Or whatever that is, magenta, maroon. We still have the same flashes out there on the Earth. They have not moved, which means they're either hovering UFOs or city lights that on a non-moving Earth. Who knows? Now, this is the kind of thing that gets me. Now, watch what we've got, because it's definitely something interesting going on over here in the lower right. Looks like the horizon line a little bit, with maybe the sun trying to peek over the left edge there. So we'll keep watching that to see what exactly that is. But I mean, look at this part here. Just again, you have exposed wires under that little harness there. And you got this reflection coming back from what? And I'll show you why that makes a difference here in a second. Because if it is a light on the ISS, then they are scheduling the light to go off when the sun rises, which is just weird. Oh, now we got the sun. We'll have to rewind and see what happened. Did that come from the little horizon marker or from somewhere else? So we'll watch it here. And pay attention to the lighting on the garbage can there, the cylinder, because the lighting will do something very weird, especially, oh, now look at that little bright light coming from underneath it. What is that? Is that the horizon line in the sun? Who knows? I don't know. Point that out. It's right here for you. And now look at the area above where, oh, unbelievable. So then the sun came from a spot completely different than the two specks of sun that we saw peeking out. I mean, that is no sun. Looks like the moon is in the background. Probably not, but it looks like it. I mean, this is just disgusting. This is the best NASA can do. Do we not have HD cameras? Do we not have the ability to do that? We can get HD pictures of Pluto, though. Easily get that for you. But it's going to be tough to get one of the Earth, I tell you. That is disgusting. So, if you remember, the lights had turned off, which makes no sense. You have that reflection, plus you've got the lighting on the wall. So let's watch the lighting now on the cylinder. You'll see that little speck of light is coming across, which I thought was the sun. But now watch where the sun comes. It's actually going to come from a little bit on top of that red circle. And watch the lights that are on this side of the cylinder. So here comes the sun shining through, and now look at the lights. So see, all somebody did was shut the lights off in unison with the sun for some reason, which makes no sense. Where is that light coming from anyway that would brighten it up like that? We'll watch this one more time. Okay, so we'll watch again. This time sped up a little bit, but remember we thought this was the horizon. Pay close attention to the reflection on the tin can and watch how it coincides right with the sun. And we're about to see that right in that little cranny there. And then watch the reflection go out. So there's the sun and the reflection goes out and everything else turns black. And it's a bunch of garbage. Pretty disgusting. Let's zoom in here and see what's going on. Probably more exposed wires. It looks like it. Oh yeah, wires and harnesses and all kinds of fun stuff. I guess that nobody's worried about their life or anything if those things get hit by micrometeoroids. Makes sense. Oh, well, they're protected by a burlap sack. So 25,000 mile per hour asteroids probably have nothing to do with that. I mean, they'll just bounce right off. It's a burlap sack. Your lives are not in danger, guys. You'll be fine. Why would you ever make the station like that? Maybe that top part closes. But then again, why would it be open? Makes no sense. Yeah, none at all. That is pretty gross. And what is the burlap canvas bag? What's that going to protect you from? Maybe it's a space hammock. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a hammock. And above that is a sponge. Must be. So, why are they using the cylinder to block the sunrise? There's a question for you. It certainly looks like what it was doing. Again, if you were going to take pictures, if you were a photographer, would you try and cram as much stuff in the front of your camera before you took a picture? I doubt it. Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. So we're losing light here again on the drum set and cymbal. And we're going to find more of those little sprites here shortly. Okay, I can already see one on the right. And now I see them starting to show up. So you see that one. There's one there, there's one there, there's one there. But they don't move. All right, now we get this view. This is a unique view that will allow me to show you something. Say we're looking at this little bright spot in the cloud here. When I press play, it'll be a little bit further along. You can still see it there. See how it's dropping down? It's going down the screen, correct? Started from up top and is going almost 45-degree angle, maybe. And to kind of show it, it was kind of coming about like this. Okay. Now to test this, if you have a globe at your house, what is wrong with you? No, I'm just kidding. We have a globe. If you have a globe, this is where you got to try it with the globe and see if you can recreate what we see from the ISS. So here we'll be looking, looks like at 22 there or so. Whoops, maybe not. So what we're trying to show, or what I'm trying to show, is these clouds here on the bottom will just stay right along that edge while the other clouds all come down. They fall down and the bottom edge just rides along the edge, kind of like this, which if you get a globe and try and turn the globe in a way that recreates this, you can't do it. So they must be using some sort of fisheye lens, and that's what's giving us these weird perspectives, because those clouds should fall over the ball like those other arrows. The fact that they don't kind of looks like it's all going to a point if you kind of think of the bottom part of the globe as being a point. Oh, thanks, blue screen. That's some nonsense. It wasn't even the sunset.
Don't go there with me. Don't go there with me. Don't go there with me. You want to keep it real, you keep it real with me, because I ain't for no games.
So again, do your own research. Don't believe me. Draw it out yourself. Get a globe. And try to turn the globe so that the bottom portion stays along the little line there, but everything closer to you actually goes down the globe. If you can do it, you're probably using one of those like Rubik's cubes and twisting one way and the other way. It's not possible. It's definitely done with some sort of fisheye lensing and high altitude planes. Open and shut. So you can see here, you can just watch these little cloud patterns here on the bottom. and they'll just ride along that ridge the whole time. But again, look at the ones up top, and they come straight down. And so just touching back where we were earlier, talking about how they put together the ISS, if you have a spaceship or a plane and you've got safety on the inside and danger, like the blackness of space, on the outside, definitely hazardous to human life, you would not build the space station the way they did. You would build everything inside so that you could remain safe. You could go throughout the plane and install things from the inside of the plane. If something went wrong, you would be fixing it from the inside. But that's not quite how they do it on the ISS. They want to build everything on the outside. So they'll put their apparatuses sticking out every different direction. It looks like a disaster. It's kind of a travesty to science that they call that thing scientific. But they put everything on the outside. And not just that, but they run wires and connectors and satellites and all kinds of fun stuff running on the outside. So they've got wires and cords in every different direction. So of course you need to go outside and basically put your life on the line. Anytime there's a minor little nick or something comes unplugged, now you got to get on that big spacesuit and you got to go out and fix it. Not only that, but you have to stay tethered to the flying spaceship. So then you've got your little fat astronaut man right here, and he's got to be tethered. And if you got usually two of them out there in case one of them floats away or something, you got another one and he's also tethered. That just makes no sense. It just is not the way anybody would run the operation. Except if you're NASA, then you're just a bunch of clowns. And this makes no sense. Now, even today, I see people still dropping links for the ISS, calling me stupid for doing no research on a 24/7 view from space, yet they have never even looked into it. Blind believers, and they make fun of religion? Wow. Now, I'm sure everyone remembers George Carlin, one of the all-time bests. He did his classic all-time bullshit artists, and, he gets a bad rap because atheists have adopted him, even though he said, for a while, I thought of myself as an atheist until I realized it too was a belief. The man was very smart. He said the biggest bullshit artist of all time was religion, who had convinced people that there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches over you, and he has a special place where he'll send you to burn and choke and suffer and die, but he loves you. Well, George was close, and he also called out the nassholes when he said, yeah, we're going to go to Mars. Yeah, we're just going to get on a rocket ship, go to Mars. Sure we are. Great bit. But really, we have a damn close second place to the number one all-time bullshit artist, because if you haven't realized it, scientism has convinced people that there's a 1,000,000-pound tin can, 250 miles in the sky. It's orbiting our ball planet going 17,500 miles per hour, and it's weightless. Weightless because it's falling but constantly missing because of the curvature of the Earth as it curves, as it operates under special laws you can't test, called orbital mechanics, proven by numbers on paper, so it must be true. It's called mathematics. Mathematics proves reality. Sure. Math never lies. Like if I have $1.5 million and I add $2.5 million, well, then I have $4 million. Now, I just proved it to be true mathematically. Does it mean that I have $4 million? Check my pockets. You'll be lucky if you found $4. Of course not. So what's this mean? It means that just because math proves something true doesn't mean it's reality. So fantastic. Orbital mechanics works on paper. Good for you. Can't be tested. We have to take NASA's word for it, and it's bullshit. But do your own research. So scientism has actually convinced us that we're a spinning flying ball, 66,000 miles per hour through the curved space-time, orbiting the sun that is 1,000,000 miles wide and weighs 4 non-illion pounds. That is the actual number. That's a 4 and then 30 zeros. And all the matter in the universe came from an invisible bang, and it came from nothing and exploded into everything, including gravity, which decided to let things go for a little bit before it actually gathered things into spheres. And then came life. Life from non-life. It was a spontaneous, we know it happens even though it's never been proven or shown in a lab. It happens. Okay? It just happens. So then started the bacteria and the sea anemones as they grew and thrived until the first multicelled organisms came around 800 million years ago. But then these sea anemones joined societies. They got together, and eventually they became a worm, which also led to starfish and even real fish. And then the fish grew legs, and they went up on land and became lizards. And then those lizards became terrible lizards. And then they went extinct, and lucky for us, the badgers, they remained. And then they grew bigger, and some went off and became bears, but others went off and started to think for themselves and shared bananas and swung from trees. Then they thought, I still want to be better. And so they started walking upright, and then they started wearing clothes and carrying a club, and then they wore a suit. And then they built a lunar lander, and then they went and landed on the moon and telecast it live on TV for everyone to see. Evolution. Even the monkey knows horseshit when he hears it. So, enter the contest. ISS, what do you think? Instantly seems so fake? I guess that's cheating. Today's video was meant to show that I'm a regular guy who thinks the Earth is flat. What are you all bent out of shape for? If I'm wrong, science will prove it. As soon as it has a second to step away from indoctrinating today's youth. Maybe they can measure the non-existent curvature, or show that the Earth spins, or that it orbits the sun. I'm sure it just forgot those minor little details. Do your own research, go watch ISS live. If you think you live on that conveyor belt ball thing, enjoy that. I'll be over here, stationary, not spinning, not flying through space, not orbiting one star out of 100 trillion. All that seems a tad bit much just because someone told you. And who do I think are the biggest bullshit artists on Earth? Well, I'd start with anyone who thinks the Earth is 4.54 billion years old. Be kind, don't lie, open up your mind, because there's truth inside. This has been Jeranism. Till next time, peace!
Astronauts to the moon.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to reality.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jeranism. Back with another video for you today. The impossible space station. Yeah, I know, many people wanted to keep this dream of space alive and even fight on the side of the deceivers, but it will only prolong the inevitable, which is the realization that we were all taught a bunch of lies, and we can sit around and cry, or we can get back to reality and make the Earth a better place to live. So stop pretending that we can colonize a red light in the sky, or put a million-pound tin. Just the deception want the Earth to be flat. They want the truth, just like me. I mean, I'm not a Christian. I know Christians have a little bit more invested in this, but it doesn't bother me either way, if it's flat or it isn't. Now, at this point, I know it can't be a ball, and that's simply because it's been 14 months, and there's been no new proof, just angry drones. Point is, there are major problems with the globe model, but it was indoctrinated into our very foundation, not with proof, not with facts, not with tests, not with science, but with givens and basics and foundations that we all thought were solid, and they aren't. So these were forced truths. They were tricks played on our minds. So, how do you think they did it? Well, let's watch George W. explain exactly how an indoctrinated world is created.
And our good hearts and good nature. Yeah, Ken.
Mr. President, earlier this year you told us you had ordered your administration.
Diversity's a scam. The Cold War was a scam. Nukes, a scam. Moon landing, a scam. Satellites, a scam. Orbits, a scam. Astrophysics, a scam. Why would the government want anything other than you, yes boys? Let's pretend it is a psyop. Let's just pretend. Or that the government wants to make truthers look dumb. You don't find it rather startling and strange that something we were taught as children as being scientific fact has so little backing that people can be swayed in their opinion of it? I mean, we were all taught flat Earth was stupid. It was a primitive belief by desert wanderers. So for someone to even consider it for a second, there has to be two things. One, a whole lot wrong with the current accepted belief, and some damn good points with the idea we were taught was stupid. I mean, do you think people like taking verbal abuse, being called stupid? Do you think I like to see videos made about me saying I'm retarded? Do you think the people who comment, who have started to notice...
To cease and desist on payments to journalists to promote your agenda, you cited the need for ethical concerns and the need for a bright line between the press and the government. Your administration continues to make the use of video news releases, which are prepackaged news stories sent to television stations, fully aware that some or many of these stations will air them without any disclaimer that they are produced by the government. Comptroller General of the United States this week said that raises ethical questions. Does it raise ethical questions about the use of government money to produce stories about the government that wind up being aired with no disclosure that they were produced by the government?
There is a Justice Department opinion that says these pieces are within the law so long as they're based upon facts, not advocacy. And I expect our agencies to adhere to that ruling, to that Justice Department opinion. This has been a long-standing practice of
can in orbit, or that we can live on a sphere in the emptiness of space. So we're going to watch some ISS footage here in a bit. That should help you see the truth if you are still on the fence, but as I showed in my last video, there is no 24-hour camera feed on the ISS. And for those who are still dropping links in edited videos or links to Ustream saying, here's your 24/7 video, hope you're happy. Well, my question is, where were you Sunday morning when I had the $1,000 bet on the table and we had no takers? So none at all. I see a lot of people who say, I work for someone, or this is a psyop. It's like a psyop. A psyop is to induce or reinforce behavior that is favorable to the government, or to the U.S. government in this case. Do you really think it fits our government's plans to have people thinking the earth is flat? Which means our tax money has been wasted. Our education system was a scam.